Today, you are going to be making prehistoric tools out of Crayola Model Magic. So let's get started. So for this project, you are going to be making your prehistoric tool out of Crayola Model Magic. There's enough for 2 pieces out of each packet. So you'll be splitting your packet with somebody else, and you get your half. And this clay works best if you get it nice and warm with your hands. That makes it stickier and it's easier to stick it back together. There are 2 different techniques that are going to help you make your tools. And I want you to make all 7 of these tools, but save the one you chose for last, because once you make that, you're going to set it aside to dry. And that one you'll get to keep once it's dry. So there's one technique right here. This is called coiling, where I'm just rolling it into a coil. And this is how you could make the needle. So you make it nice and long and thin, make it nice and pointy on one end, and then you're going to want to use a clay tool or a pencil. I'm just grabbing the screwdriver because I have it right here, and you'll poke that through the top to make the hole at the top of the needle, and then you can use your fingers to kind of smooth out the back. And there you have the needle. This could also be used to make the fish hook. So I'm just going to kind of roll that together and bend that into a J shape to make the fish hook. This could also be used to make a harpoon for fishing. So I'm going to break it down so it's smaller. Still have the point on the one end. That's where you would stab the fish. And then to stop the fish from wiggling off the other end, there are other spikes that point the opposite direction as the front. And those spikes will catch the fish so that if they wriggle, they get hooked on there and they can't escape. And you could do 1 set, 2 set, 3 set, so that you've got the harpoon. Similar to the harpoon is the sickle, except instead of being straight, you need to roll that coil, and then it's more of a banana shape. So you kind of just bend it into that banana, and I set some extra clay off to the side so that I can roll the spikes on here. And then these spikes will just stick right on the inside. The sickle, you have a handle end and you have a pointy end. The handle is where you would hold it. The pointy end is where you would use it to cut down grain. So we'll just do 3. I could do a 4th spike right there. So those are the 4 tools that you can make using the coil, where you roll it into a snake. The other technique is called making a slab. This is just flattening it. I always flatten it with my hands first. Because this clay gets kind of sticky, if you flatten it into the table, you have to be careful because it could end up sticking to the table and tearing up. But if you're going to make the millstone, you need to make the flat shape. This represents the flat rock. And then on top of that goes the round rock. When you use that sickle to cut down grain, you put the grain on the flat rock and you roll the round rock over top of it and crush it into flour. This slab technique can also be used to make the biface. So same thing, start with that flattened shape, and then one end gets a point, and you just kind of want to squeeze it so that end comes to a point. This is the end that they used for cutting and digging and scraping, and this end stays rounded so they had a safer spot to hold on to. This is also very similar for how you would make the assegai, but the assegai has that notch on the end where they would tie it to a stick and use it as a spear to hunt animals. So there is the assegai. And then once you've made all 7, saving your favorite one for last, you will let the sub get this so she can write your name on the back in a Sharpie, and she's going to set it on a tray to dry. And when I get back, you will get these back to take home.